everyone, and welcome to another episode of Financial Accounting Tutorials. Today, we are going to learn about the depletion of mineral resources and on how this whole thing takes into process. The financial reporting for the exploration for and evaluation of mineral resources is being addressed under the standard PFRS 6. PFRS 6 is intended for the purpose of providing some limited initial guidance about the accounting for such activities. So let's start with the main thing. The exploration and evaluation of mineral resources is the search for mineral resources. Such mineral resources include minerals, oils, natural gas, and similar non-regenerative resources after an entity has obtained legal rights to explore in a specific area. It also includes the determination of the technical feasibility and commercial viability of extracting the mineral source. More specifically, PFRS 6 identifies expenditure to be included and excluded from exploration and evaluation assets, provides an exemption for the exploration and evaluation assets that an entity should use to develop an accounting policy if no PFRS applies specifically to an item, requires an entity that recognizes exploration and evaluation assets to assess for impairment, requires disclosures that identify and explain financial statement amounts that arise from evaluation for and exploration of mineral resources. So now, let's explore the scope of this topic. Accordingly, PFRS 6 only applies to the exploration and evaluation expenditures being incurred by an entity and does not address any other aspects not engaged in the exploration for and evaluation for mineral resources. Furthermore, an entity shall not apply to PFRS 6 such as those expenditures acquired before the exploration for and evaluation of mineral resource, such as expenditures incurred before the entity has obtained the legal rights to explore a specific area, and after the technical feasibility and commercial viability of extracting a mineral source are demonstrable. Let us take into consideration that exploration and evaluation expenditures start to be incurred only after the legal right to explore a specific area is obtained, for entities cannot legally explore for mineral resources unless they first obtain authorization from the government. When the existence of reserves is in fact established, then the exploration and evaluation expenditures cease to be incurred, and the cost of preparing the mine prior to the actual extraction is under classification of developmental costs. Let us now go to the discussion on the temporary exemption from hierarchy of reporting standards under PAS 8. The hierarchy of reporting standards under PAS 8 accounting policies, changes in estimates and errors, provides that in the selection of its accounting policies, an entity should take these considerations. First is PFRS. Second, in the absence of a standard or an interpretation that specifically applies to a transaction, other event or condition, management must use its judgment in developing and applying an accounting policy that results in information that is relevant and reliable. Also, in making judgment, management must refer to and consider the applicability of the following sources in descending order. First, the requirements and guidance in PFRS dealing with similar and related issues. Second, definitions, recognition, criteria, and measurement concepts for assets, liabilities, income, and expenses in the conceptual framework. In addition to making judgment, the management may also consider the most recent pronouncements of other standard-setting bodies developing accounting standards through the usage of similar conceptual framework, other accounting literature, and accepted industry practices not in conflict with the PFRS and conceptual framework. Furthermore, PFRS 6 temporarily exempts an entity from applying all of the recent provisions discussed lately under PFRS 8. Given that PFRS 6 allows entities to develop their own accounting policy for exploration and evaluation assets, which results in relevant and reliable judgment based entirely on management judgment and without the need to consider the hierarchy of standards provided in PAS 8.
Now let's proceed to the recognition for exploration and evaluation assets. IFRS 6 does not contain recognition for exploration and evaluation assets. PFRS 6 permits entities to develop their own accounting policy for exploration and evaluation assets, which results in relevant and reliable information based entirely on the management's judgment and without the need to consider the hierarchy of standards in PAS 8. There are two common accounting methods used here. First is the full cost method, and second is the successful efforts method. In the full cost method, all costs incurred in acquiring, exploring, and developing within a broadly defined cost center are capitalized and amortized. Costs are capitalized even if a specific project in the cost center was a failure. In the successful efforts method, many costs are capitalized and amortized. Unlike full cost method, however, costs of successful acquisition and exploration activities are changed to expense. Costs whose outcome is unknown and are either expensed or capitalized. Now, let's proceed to the changes in accounting policies. An entity can actually change its accounting for exploration and evaluation expenditures if the change makes the financial statements more relevant to the economic decision-making needs of users and no less reliable, or more reliable and no less relevant to those needs. An entity shall judge relevance and reliability using the criteria in PAS 8. Now is the initial measurement for exploration and evaluation assets. If an entity's accounting policy results in the recognition of an exploration and evaluation asset, IFRS 6 requires the entity to measure the asset initially at cost. An entity is required to determine a policy that specifies which expenditures are recognized as part of the cost of exploration and evaluation assets. That policy should consider the degree to which the expenditure can be associated with finding specific mineral resources. The following are examples of expenditures that might be included in the initial measurement of exploration and evaluation assets. First, acquisition of rights to explore, topographical, geological, geochemical, and geophysical studies. Next, exploratory drilling, trenching, sampling, and activities in relation to evaluating the technical feasibility and commercial viability of extracting a mineral resource. In some cases, general and administrative and overhead costs directly attributable to the exploration and evaluation activities might also qualify for recognition as exploration and evaluation assets. Expenditures related to the development of mineral resources cannot be recognized as an exploration and evaluation asset. Property, plant, and equipment used to develop or maintain exploration or evaluation assets also cannot be recognized as exploration and evaluation assets. Now let's go to the subsequent measurement. An entity classifies an exploration or evaluation asset as either a tangible asset or an intangible asset according to the nature of the asset. Vehicles and drilling rigs will be classified as tangible assets. On the other hand, drilling rights will be classified as intangible assets. After initial recognition, an entity applies one of the two measurement models to exploration and evaluation assets. The models are the cost model and the revaluation model. Exploration and evaluation assets that are classified as tangible assets are measured in accordance with IAS 16. Those that are classified as intangible assets are measured in accordance with IAS 13.
Now let's go on to disclosures. An entity shall disclose information that identifies and explains the amounts recognized in its financial statements arising from the exploration for and evaluation of materials. The entity shall also disclose, first, its accounting policies for exploration and evaluation expenditures, including the recognition of exploration and evaluation assets. Second, the amount of assets, liabilities, income and expense, and operating and investing cash flows arising from the exploration for and evaluation of mineral resources. And lastly, an entity shall treat exploration and evaluation assets as a separate class of assets and make sure disclosures by either PES 16, PPE, or PS38 intangible assets are consistent with how the assets are classified as either tangible or intangible. Now let's go on to natural resources. Natural resources, often called wasting assets, include petroleum, minerals, and timber. They have two main features. First, the complete removal or physical consumption of the asset, and second is the replacement of the assets only by an act of nature. Unlike plant and equipment, natural resources are consumed physically over a period of use and do not maintain their physical characteristics. Now, onto the cost of natural resources. There are three types of costs incurred in acquiring and preparing various natural resources, like coal, oil, timber, etc. For use, first, purchase price including all direct costs and restoration costs. Second, exploration cost, which is amounts paid to find the natural resource after the legal right to explore has been obtained. And lastly, development costs, specifically intangible development costs, which are amounts paid to prepare the resource site for mining. These include drilling costs and costs for construction of tunnels, shafts, and wells.
So now let's talk about depletion. Depletion is much like depreciation. It is a systematic allocation of the depletion base of a natural resource over the period the natural resource is extracted. Depletion base is the capitalized cost of the natural resource less its residual value. The useful life of a natural resource is normally expressed as a quantity of natural resource or number of production or similar units expected to be obtained from the natural resource by an entity. Depletion period. Depletion of the natural resource begins when the natural resource starts to be extracted and ceases when the natural resource is physically consumed or when the natural resource is derecognized. However, no depletion is recognized in periods where no natural resource is extracted. Depletion method. Depletion is normally computed using the units of production method. The depletion base is divided by the total estimated units expected to be extracted from the natural resource to obtain depletion rate per unit. This rate is then multiplied by the actual units extracted during the period to compute for the depletion charge. Recognition of depletion in the financial statement. The depletion charge for each period shall form part of the cost of inventory. The depletion charge will be recognized as expense, as part of cost of sales, when the inventory is sold. To further understand, let's consider this following illustration.
A wasting asset entity has acquired the right to use a property to explore a natural resource. The acquisition cost is 3 million pesos. The related exploration costs amount to 2 million pesos, and development costs incurred in erecting wells and drilling the deposit are 5 million pesos. Total cost of the wasting asset, therefore, amount to 10 million pesos. It is estimated that the resource deposit is approximately 1 million units. The depletion rate per unit is computed as follows. Depletion rate per unit is equal to 10 million pesos divided by 1 million units. Therefore, depletion rate per unit is equal to 10 pesos. If 250,000 units are extracted in the first year of operations, then the depletion for the year is 2,500,000 pesos, computed by multiplying the production of 250,000 units by the rate of 10 pesos. The journal entry is as follows. Debit depletion with the amount of 2,500,000 pesos and credit accumulated depletion with the amount of 2,500,000 pesos. In the income statement, the depletion is classified as part of the cost of production or cost of sales. If a statement of financial position is prepared at the end of the first year, the wasting asset will be shown as a separate line item as follows. Resource deposit at cost with the amount of 10 million pesos minus accumulated depletion with the amount of 2,500,000 pesos, and the carrying amount would be 7,500,000 pesos.
That's it. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you. Goodbye.